Department's civilian and military leaders, Mr. Chairman, are in complete agreement with every component of the President's strategy, and we strongly believe it offers the best opportunity to degrade and destroy ISIL.
Really? Well, that was Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel testifying that both the White House and the Pentagon all on the same page when it comes to fighting ISIS terrorists. But his comments come one day after several top military officials, both past and present, claim that the president may need American troops to actually defeat ISIS, including his own chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who said he needed to reserve the right to request them. He didn't say whether or not the president would say yes, but he said that he might have to request them. California Republican Ed Royce is the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he joins me now. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here today. So one day, Chuck Hagel was, questioning certain aspects of how all of this was going to go. The next day, he seemed to want to make it very clear that the administration believes that everybody's on the same page. Do you believe that?
Imagine the frustration of the Pentagon here when you think about the fact that there's 190,000 Kurds that we need to be arming, and we've yet to give them the armament because the president wants to play Baghdad's game, or you're in the military, you've asked for 7 months, at least we know our embassy asked for this in Baghdad, asked for airstrikes against ISIL, and the president vetoed the operation. You're in the military and you know that we had 116,000 airstrikes against Saddam Hussein when he invaded Kuwait in the first Gulf War, and we've only had 176 airstrikes to date that have been approved. Or you pushed the idea 2 years ago to arm the Free Syrian Army, as General Petraeus pushed it, only to be told by the president, no. The Pentagon has to be tremendously frustrated right now, and it's going to depend now on Congress saying, we're going to directly arm the Kurds. You're not going to do it? There's 190,000 men and women in battalions that are fighting ISIL without the adequate equipment. We're going to have to go around the president on this and directly arm them.
How are you going to do that, and can you do that?
Legislatively. And we're going to have to demand that these airstrikes, these paltry 176 airstrikes that we've had, when we've lost the opportunity to take them out on the open desert as they've gone town to town to town, seizing arms, seizing money at the central bank of Mosul. I mean, it has been an absolute series of mishaps with the president himself stopping the steps necessary. So we have Kurds and Arabs on the ground, but the foreign minister sat in my office not 3 or 4 days ago and told me again for the umpteenth time, listen, we can't wait for Baghdad to allow us to have the artillery, the long-range mortars, the anti-tank missiles we need to defeat them on the ground. We have 190,000 soldiers. Let us do our job. The president needs to get out of the way here in terms of allowing the types of decisive actions that need to be taken, in terms of the air campaign and in terms of arming those Kurds and Arabs that want to do the fighting. That's
we know
my
that
point.
The president has done this in the opposite way that the previous president, President Bush, did, and a lot of people didn't agree with the way that he ran the Iraq War. But he always said that he would be dictated by what the generals told him they needed to win. That he would present the goal of what needed to happen, and they would tell him what they needed to carry out. His orders as commander-in-chief. We're seeing a very reverse sort of situation here. But you have said, sir, that you would not put any boots on the ground. And we heard the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff say that he may need to request that at some point. Do you stand by that?
But here's the point. Here's the point. If you don't allow the Kurds to do the fighting, what is our military going to say? If you won't give them the equipment to defeat ISIL, if you veto the robust effort of an air campaign that will destroy ISIL, what options do you leave? So my point is, if we want to do this right, the right way to do it is with the kind of air power we used in the first Gulf War that destroyed 42 divisions, 3,700 tanks, and 85% of their armored personnel carriers. That's the way to do it, with that kind of an air campaign, and with the kind of campaign on the ground that unleashes the Kurdish and Arab forces
I understand
to
what
fight
you're saying.
ISIL.
So why do you think the hesitancy on the part of the administration? I mean, who does the president agree with in terms of his own military campaign? And if he wants to do it with airstrikes, why not unleash the kind of volume that you're talking about?
This is the great question, because we know 2.5 years ago, just to go back to when his entire defense staff, including his CIA director, including his Secretary of Defense, his Secretary of State at the time, all came to him and said, look, you know, you've got those who will do the fighting, arm them now. They're fighting, they're fighting not just, you know, groups like Al-Qaeda, but they're also carrying out the battle against Assad. It was the president himself who turned down his own national security team. And what I do know is that when we pressed him about hitting ISIL from the air when they were easy targets before they took all of these assets, before they took the oil wealth, before they grabbed a hold of the cash from all of these banks, city by city. I mean, that was the time to show the world what we could do to turn them back. Well, now we have a second opportunity, but only if we actually listen to those in the region, like the Kurds, who are experienced at fighting, you know, terrorists, jihadists like this ISIL group. And if the president doesn't listen to them and doesn't allow directly the armaments, I can only imagine the frustration over in the Pentagon.
Yeah, and it sounds like you got a lot of frustration on the Hill as well. Congressman, we got to go there. Thank you very much, Congressman Ed Royce.